One sunny day, Alice and her older sister went out for a walk to play in the fields. Alice's sister decided she would rather read a book than play, so Alice was very bored. She started to wonder what she could do for fun, and she saw a white bunny go past her, and the bunny was talking to himself.
Oh no, I'm late. I'm so late. Oh, I gotta go. Gotta go.
Alice couldn't believe he was talking. She ran after the bunny. The bunny went through a hole in a tree trunk, and Alice followed him.
Hello? Wait, bunny.
But suddenly, she found herself falling slowly through a tunnel deep into the ground. The well was very deep, and Alice kept on falling down slowly. Alice felt like she was falling through the whole world, until finally she hit the ground on a soft pile of leaves. There was a long hallway in front of her, filled with colorful locked doors. But the bunny was nowhere to be seen. Alice was afraid that she might never escape the hallway and might not be able to get back to her sister. But then she saw a little blue table with a golden key on it. She tried the key in all the locks, but it was too small for the big locks. She tried every lock, but they were all too big. And just as she was about to give up, she noticed a very, very small door behind the curtain. When she put the key in the lock, the door opened immediately. Alice loved what she saw when the door opened. Behind the door, there was a very beautiful garden, but the door was so small that she could not fit through. The door locked automatically when she closed it, and she walked back to the table, and she noticed a little green bottle with a label on it. Drink me.
Okay.
Alice tasted it and felt a strange feeling. Alice was shrinking down, smaller and smaller. Alice thought this was a good thing because now she could fit through the door. But then she realized that she had left the key on the table and she couldn't reach it. But then, under the table, she saw a piece of cake on the floor. Eat me. So she took a bite, and then she started to grow big again. So now she could reach the key, but was too big to go through the door. Alice was frustrated and couldn't figure out how to escape, and she began to cry. The cake must have made her tears grow even bigger, because her tears started to make a big puddle. The entire hallway was filled with her tears. She heard a splish, splash, splash sound. The white bunny hopped past her in the water.
Sir, I can't find a way back, and I can't unlock any of the doors.
The bunny didn't even notice Alice and kept hopping away down the hall. He must have been in a hurry, because he didn't even notice that he dropped his gloves and fan. Alice picked up his small things floating in the water. She tried waving the hand fan, and suddenly started to shrink again. She shrunk so small that she fell into the water and started to float away. All sorts of animals were floating with her and out of an open door. When they reached the shore, they were all wet, and Alice saw the bunny again. The bunny thought she was his maid and started giving her orders.
Oh, good. Go to my house for my gloves. I'm very late, you know.
Went to the bunny's house in the forest. When she entered, she immediately found his gloves. But right there, she saw another bottle on the table. She reached to the bottle and thought,
if I drink this, maybe I can go back to my normal size.
She took the bottle and drank the whole thing. But before she could get out, she became so huge that she filled the entire house.
Oh my! Now what do I do?
Outside, the bunny was waiting for Alice. And when the animals saw her stand up inside the house, they thought she was a house monster and started to throw rocks at the house. The stones landed inside next to Alice and turned into little pieces of cake. She took one right away, hoping it would make her small again. And it did. But this time, she got so small that she was lost in the grass and bushes in the woods. She didn't know which way to go. But she saw a puppy a little further away. She called the puppy over, but as it got closer, she realized she was much, much smaller than the puppy. She almost got squashed by the puppy's paws, so she got up to run away. She wasn't watching where she was going, and she ran into a big mushroom. A blue caterpillar sat on the mushroom.
Oh, please help me. I'm shrunken.
The caterpillar thought a moment and answered her.
This is a magic mushroom. Eat one side to grow larger, and the other side to shrink smaller. Sautéed with butter is better, but ranch dressing is also tasty.
Alice took a small piece from the mushroom and put it in her mouth, and sure enough, she started to grow. But she kept growing and growing until she was so big she couldn't even see her feet. So then she tried a piece from the other side of the mushroom and eventually got back to her normal size. She took 2 extra pieces from each side of the mushroom in case she needed them later. And sure enough, she came across a tiny house. But to be able to get in, she had to shrink again. So she ate the mushroom and began to shrink. When she entered the house, Alice went into a kitchen where a duchess stood holding a little baby. On the floor was a fat, furry white cat with a huge grin on his face.
Meow.
Alice was very surprised.
Why does your cat smile like that?
Because this is a Cheshire cat, said the Duchess. The baby began to cry just as the white cat disappeared.
Meow, 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 meow.
The Duchess passed the baby over to Alice. Rock this baby to keep her from crying while I go and play croquet with the Queen. Alice held the baby, and it quieted and went to sleep. But then Cheshire Cat appeared again with his wide grin and said to Alice,
You need to find the Mad Hatter and March Hare. But be careful, they're both crazy.
Then the Cheshire Cat disappeared again, and Alice yelled at the cat.
Stop disappearing and reappearing. You're freaking me out.
Cheshire Cat reappeared with his grin and said,
Okay then, I will disappear slowly.
Starting from his tail, Cheshire Cat started to disappear, one piece at a time, until only his face remained. Alice found a crib for the baby and left the house to find the Mad Hatter and March Hare's house. She found them both having tea beneath a tree at a long table. March Hare put some hay between his ears, which Alice thought was strange. And the Mad Hatter had a huge green hat on his head. There was also a mouse between them that was asleep on the table. The Mad Hatter and March Hare used the mouse as an armrest, which Alice thought was even more strange. When they saw Alice coming, they opposed, saying that there was no space available.
No space.
There is plenty of room,
said Alice. Mad Hatter asked Alice,
Why do you think the crow looks like a desk?
Why do you think?
Well, I don't know.
Alice got really bored of the stupid jokes that the rude Mad Hatter and March Hare told. She said,
This was the stupidest meeting I have ever been to.
And she walked away. As she walked, she noticed a door in the trunk of a tree. Inside was a large room with a golden door at the end. She used the key, which opened the door into a beautiful garden. There were playing cards with paintbrushes, painting white roses with red paint.
Paint, paint, white to red, 'cause that's what the queen said. Oh,
Alice was very surprised. So Alice asked,
Hello? Can you tell me why you're painting all the white roses red?
The Three of Hearts turned around to answer.
The queen wanted red roses, but we accidentally planted white roses. If the queen finds out, she'll chop off our heads.
Just then, the Queen of Hearts came to the garden. The soldiers next to her were all the shape of playing cards. She had never met the Queen of Hearts, but the queen invited her to play croquet. Alice never saw a croquet field like this one before. Hedgehogs were used for balls and flamingos for croquet mallets. In the middle of the game, the players started to fight and throw hedgehogs at each other. The Queen of Hearts was so angry, she canceled the croquet party. The queen was very upset. She stomped her foot on the floor and yelled with anger.
Chop off the heads of all the players involved in this fight.
Oh no, everybody run, 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 run.
And suddenly, there was a loud voice.
Attention, attention. The trial
Everybody started
has
to
begun.
run towards the court. Alice heard people say that the trial was for the Jack of Hearts, who supposedly had stolen a pie from the queen's kitchen. The royal soldiers guarded him during the trial, and the White Rabbit appeared, holding an official-looking scroll of paper.
On a beautiful summer day, our Queen of Hearts had baked delicious pies, and Jack of Hearts had stolen them.
Call the first witness.
The king yelled from his seat. The first witness was the Mad Hatter. When the Mad Hatter started to talk on the witness stand in front of the king, Alice suddenly started to grow larger and larger. And when the White Rabbit saw her, he asked if she had brought his gloves from the house. Alice stood up to explain why she didn't have his gloves, but her dress snagged on the bench, which tipped it over, and everyone slid off the bench onto the floor.
Oh, sorry.
The queen was rude and demanded that Alice tell her who stole the pie.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Alice answered. The queen yelled furiously. She's an accomplice! Chop off her head, too! Alice continued to grow and grow.
I don't care about your orders. You are not my queen. You can't do anything to me.
As she was speaking, the king, queen, and all the playing cards began to fly up and around her in a whirlwind. Then it lifted Alice up into the air, and she felt like she was flying or falling. Alice screamed. All went quiet. She found herself on the field again in the real world. She could hear her sister's voice. Alice, come on now, wake up. When Alice woke up, she realized that everything was a dream.
Oh, wow. It was all a dream. And what an amazing dream it was. Hey, sis, let me tell you about my dream. You know, a white rabbit, and he was late.